Hi guys, thanks for clicking on my channel. I'm here to talk to you about Ketchikan, Alaska. I just got off a cruise, the Princess Emerald. We did the Inside Passage itinerary, and I just want to give you a few highlights on Ketchikan so you know what to expect, what you need to bring with you, what is the best things to do. And if you have any questions and you want any information on Ketchikan, send me an email at jacquelinewincher.cruiseplanners.com. First of all, when you get off the boat in Ketchikan, it kind of depends where your boat is docked, but there is going to be options for you to choose for excursions all up and down the dock. So if you didn't get a chance to book an excursion, you can do something right as soon as you get off the boat. If you did book an excursion, as soon as you get off the boat, that's probably where you're going to meet the people that are going to take you to your excursion. There's plenty. I do want to mention right before I get started on the excursions that when you get off the boat, there's so many little shops right there, and this is the best port to buy souvenirs. It is by far the least expensive souvenirs. My husband bought a jacket, a really nice fleece-lined jacket, because he had forgotten his, or actually he lost it. And it was $16. And the little souvenirs that my kids bought were less than $5. I mean, we end up throwing that stuff away anyways, so why spend more in another port when you can get it in Ketchikan and it's super cheap? So check out those stores. Make sure you give them business. I don't know any of the specific names of them, but they're there and they are going to be willing to sell you what you need. The two excursions that we did when we got off the boat in Alaska, and we had planned these ahead of time. One was the lumberjack show. I have two kids, two boys, ages 3 and 6, and so I thought that was going to be the most fun for them. So we did do an excursion through the cruise line, and the reason that I did it through Princess is because it was actually cheaper, believe it or not. If you can go to the lumberjack show and buy tickets on your own, but when they add their taxes and fees, it ends up being more expensive than what the cruise line charges. And honestly, where our Princess Emerald boat was docked, it was quite a long walk to get there. So to have that shuttle included in the price when it was even cheaper than the tickets straight from the lumberjack show, it was definitely worth it. So if you're doing the lumberjack show, book it through your cruise line. That's the way to go. The show was super cute. The kids loved it. And it was probably the cheapest excursion that they had in Ketchikan. It was definitely worth it. You should check that out. While we did that, I sent my husband off salmon fishing with his dad. So my husband and my father-in-law went salmon fishing. They did that through Shore Trips. They booked we started through Shore Trips, but we actually ended up doing that through the boat, the cruise ship also. They loved their experience. It was about 5 hours of salmon fishing. They told me that everybody on the boat ended up catching something, so everybody was pretty happy about that. You do have to buy a fishing license in cash, so bring a little bit of cash with you. I think it was between $20 and $30. So you'll need that, and then you need some cash to tip your boat driver. They say they recommend about a 10 to 15% tip per person. So our excursion was around $200, so about $20 to $30 for a tip, and about $20 to $30 for your permit. That's the cash that you will need for this. But what was so great about going through the excursion with Princess is that the fish that my husband and father-in-law caught was actually brought onto the ship and prepared for us for dinner that evening. They prepared it. They had a form that they got to fill out and say exactly how they wanted to be prepared and what they wanted to be served with. So my husband chose rice and vegetables and potatoes, I think. You could choose whether you wanted it to be lemon zest fish or just a olive oil baked fish. And they prepare it for you. They bring it out whole to the table, and then they fillet it right there and serve it to you as it's being filleted right off the fish. It was a very cool experience. I do want to give you a little side note on that. If you do that and you're on the Princess Emerald, you want to have your fish sent to the Michelangelo dining room. The other dining rooms are for the seated dining time, the specific dining times. Michelangelo is the anytime dining room, and that's where you want to have your fish sent, because if you're doing anytime dining, that's the only place that you can go for dinner, that they'll be able to serve it to you in that way. The other thing, we did not sign up for another excursion, but when we got back from the lumberjack show and we got back from fishing, we went ahead and just found a guy in all the tourist area that had a trolley tour that we could do. We did a little wildlife trolley tour. It was around I think it was $50 for adults and $30 for children, and it took us on about a 25-minute ride through Ketchikan. It's mostly residential, but then you get into this kind of open area. It was great for pictures. There was a bear viewing area. We didn't see any bears. We saw lots of eagles. We saw seals. There was some water that we got to see, and the seals were there. So my kids thought it was great. It was a relatively inexpensive thing that we could do for the rest of the day. My mother-in-law broke off with her sister, and they went to Creek Street. Creek Street is famous because it is where the old brothels were. So now it is no longer brothels. There are some funny signs referring to that, but it's just basically shopping. So if you're into shopping, you want to just ask where Creek Street is. You don't need to do an excursion or anything like that. Ask where Creek Street is. You can walk there. And running up the middle of Creek Street is you can just see the salmon going through up the creek. It's really kind of nice, and the shopping is really great too. The other two excursions that we did not get to but seem to be the most popular in Ketchikan, it was one of two, either going to Saxman Village or the Totem Bite State Park. Those are both places where you can see really intricate totem poles. If that's something that you're into, that might be an excursion that you want to sign up to. But again, there's so many people standing outside on the port. If you don't get signed up for it, you can easily find someone to take you to one of those places. There's also a bus that will take you to either of those places for a very small fee. So you can do Ketchikan very economically if that's what you're interested in. If you have any questions about Ketchikan, Alaska, Princess Cruise Lines, or any of your other vacation needs, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help you. My email is jacqueline.wincher@cruiseplanners.com.